Greetings, friend. I will expose the best techniques to solve hard Sudoku, particularly the proven strategy you need to solve the green cell, plus the two pairs of intermediate strategies that you must find in order to set it up. Click below if you want to give this puzzle a go, and with that, it's solving time. All right, before we can get to this green cell, there's another cell we need to work on finding and solving that will help us set us up. So it's this red cell down here, row 8, column 8. I want you to look right here across row 5. You see you have 5 digits filled in, a 2, 3, 6, 7, 9. What we're missing is a 1, 4, 5, 8. You might notice the 4 and the 8 are both in block 5. And then this 8 looks at this cell right here. So the only place to put an 8 along row 5 is right here. And since the 4 covers these two cells, you can put a 4 right there, and we can put a 1, 5 naked pair right across the middle. All right, we can use that to our advantage because you have this one cutting across row 6 and this one coming down. There's only one place for a 1 now in block 6. And then if you see these two 4s, we can solve for a 4 right here. And now what we have here is a 2, 3, and a 9. So I got a 9 and a 3 right there. This has to be a 2, and this is a 3, 9 naked pair. If you're new to the channel, I welcome you to Smart Hobbies. Subscribe if you want to turn your passing interest in Sudoku into a fun and enjoyable hobby. This puzzle is by Julian Locke. It's inspired by another classic that I featured recently. I actually put a link to that video at the end. And now we can look at these 2s. You got 2 right here, 2 right here, and this 2 means there's only one place for a 2 in block 5. And then with the 7 cutting up column 5, there's only one place for 7 right here. And so we have 2 digits left that we haven't figured out in block 5, a 3 and a 6. Well, nice little secret here. This 3, 9 naked pair acts as a pointing pair. And a pointing pair means that these digits 3 and a 9, since they have to be in block 6 somewhere, and they're limited to row 6, they cannot be anywhere else along the row outside of that block, right? Because if you put a 3 right here, we have no place to put 3 in block 6. So we know the 3 actually has to be up here, and the 6 is going to be right there. And now to finish row 6, you're looking for a 5 and an 8. Well, I got my 5 right there, so here's your 5, and here is your 8. Join the Smarty Party by clicking on the pinned comment, and you can get my January puzzle pack featuring unique rectangles, just like my new members Fractal, Jojo, and Paula Phoebe will. Send me the correct solution, I'll give you a shout out at the end of the month, just like Carol Emmerich, John Brown, Aaron Wells, and Yoshi Baroshu, who all solved December's puzzle pack. And now we can look up here in 4 and see you're missing a 6, 7, and a 9. Well, I had the 6 and the 9 right there. This has to be your 7, and this is going to be your 6 and 9. So we have a nice, good start to this puzzle. Let's look at where the 3s can be now in block 8. You have this 3 in column 4, this 3 in column 5, and this 3 in row 9. So there's only one place for a 3 in block 8. And now you always want to see what can I do with what I just marked. With these 2 3s, there's only one place for 3 now in block 7. All right, let's look at the 6s. I got these 2 6s and this 6. Similar to what we just did with the 3s, now we're going to do with the 6s. Only one place for 6 in block 2, and with these 2 6s, only one place for 6 in block 3. And we can go a little bit further because with these 2 6s and this 6, we can solve for 6 in block 9. And then you'll see there's only 2 possibilities for 6 here in block 7. So I'm going to mark that. This is called Snyder notation. Anytime in a 3x3 block, you have 2 possibilities for a candidate. You can mark it in case we solve one of these cells. We can solve the other one right away for that candidate. And this is going to help us solve this red cell here. Because let's look at this 7. You got a 7 cutting across row 7, and you have a 7 cutting down column 3. So that means the 7s are limited to the same 2 cells as the 6s. Whenever you see this situation, Snyder notation, same 2 candidates, same 2 cells, this is called a hidden pair. Because what it means is the 6 and 7 both have to be in block 7, but they're limited to the same 2 cells. So that means they're hidden among other candidates. You can eliminate all the other candidates from being in those cells. And so we know this has to be either 6 or a 7. But the 6-7 hidden pair is similar to what I did with this 3-9. A hidden pair can also act as a pointing pair if they're in the same row like they are here. And what it means is a 7 can't be anywhere else along row 9. So 7 can't be in any of these two spots here in block 9. And because of this 7, the 7 can't be in these two spots. And because of these two 7s, the 7s can't be here. So this red cell we can now solve for a 7. You have to find this hidden pair if you want to solve this red cell. And this is going to set us up for the pairs of two intermediate strategies that we're going to need to get to that green cell. So let's remove the red. And we will move on with our solving. Okay, let's check out these 2's. You got these 2's here, column 4 and 5. The only place for 2 now in block 8 is right there. And we can go a little bit further with the 2's, because with this 2 and this 2, we can solve for 2 right here. And with these 2's and this 2, we can solve for 2 in block 9. With these 2's and this 2, solve for 2 in block 3. And with these 2's and these 2's, anytime you have 4 of a candidate all pairing into one block, you know you can solve it. There's only going to be one place remaining to put 2. It's right there. So we just solved all of the 2's. And now it's time for those two intermediate strategies. It's actually a pair. So there's the first intermediate strategy I'm going to show you is called a claiming pair. And we're going to need 2 of them. And then there's going to be another intermediate strategy that we're also going to need 2 of. So let's look at this claiming pair. How we set this up is you want to look across row 7. Okay? We can start right here. We know that there's only 2 candidates that we haven't marked in block 7, a 1 and a 4. Okay, great. 1 and a 4. And then if you come across here, you want to look at where can the 1's be in block 9. Well, with these 2 1's, the 1's have to be right there. Okay? And so what you might notice, and I'm going to mark this, is that the 1's in block 7 and in block 9 are limited to rows 7 and 9. All right, so one's going to be there and there, or it's going to be there and there. Some people call this a mini X-wing. The key thing to notice is that 1's cannot be in row 8 in block 7 or in block 9. So that means the 1's are now limited to row 8 in block 8. And if there's 3 of them there, that'd be a claiming triple because they claim that row in the block. If there's 2 of them like we have here, this is a claiming pair. The 1's are limited to one of these 2 spots. And if there's only one of them, it's it's a hidden single, and you'd be able to solve it right away. What this means is a 1 cannot be here, here, or here because the 1's have to be in row 8, and they're limited in row 8 here in block 8. Okay? And so what this does is this can no longer be a 1. It can't be a 4, so that's going to be a 5 or a 9. And since you have a 1 and a 4 right here, this is also going to be a 5 or a 9. And so now what you have is a nice naked pair, 5 and 9. So that means this is now a 1 or a 4. It cannot be a 5, but it also can't be a 9 anymore because the 9 has to be in one of these 2 orange cells. So I wanted to point that out. That's our first claiming pair, and it gives us a nice naked pair that we're going to use a little bit later on in the solve. Okay, we're going to move on to the next claiming pair. Where can we find it? Well, in order to set this up, we got to kind of look down here and see the restriction in column 7. There's 6 candidates filled in, a 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9. So we're missing a 4, 5, and an 8. But the key thing is that this 5 cannot be right there. So that can't be a 5. We just create a bi-value cell, BVC I call them. And BVCs are huge for finding advanced strategies. The more of these we put down, the more advanced strategy you'll see. And now you notice that the green cell could be either a 4, 5, or an 8. Which one is it going to be? We shall see. And since the 5s are limited here in block 3 to column 7, and you got this 5, the 5s are going to be limited to these 2 spots. So I'm going to mark that here in block 9. All right. Let's check out the 7s. We can actually do a little bit of solving here. We got these 2 7s. Means this cell has to be a 7 in block 2. With these 2 7s and this 7 solve for 7 right here, which is going to allow us to disambiguate the 6 and the 7 in block 7. And now this 6 allows us to disambiguate the 9 and the 6 right there. Whenever you have the chance, try to solve and disambiguate those naked and hidden pairs because they'll clean up your grid quite a bit. All right, after doing that, in block 4, now we notice you only have 2 possibilities remaining here in column 1. So it's a 5 or a 9. And you'll see we have another mini X-wing here, right? We can go blue here. The 5s are limited to rows 1 and 3 in block 1. They're limited to rows 1 and 3 in block 3, which means the 5s have to be in row 2 in block 2. So this is another claiming pair. This is critical. You had to find both these claiming pairs to set this up, and I'll show you why here in just a bit. But let's get rid of the blues. I did want to show you that intermediate strategy. If you like tips like this, please consider buying me a coffee like Aaron Wells and John Brown did. Or you can just click on the super thanks below. I'd really appreciate it. And now we're going to get into that second pair of intermediate strategies that you have to find. And at this point, you might get a little stuck. So share this puzzle with someone you know and see what they did here. And let me know how it went. Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I answer every comment. You want to notice is that you have these 8 coming up here in column 6. So it limits the 8s to these 2 cells in block 2. And since these 2 8s are limited to column 5, they're a pointing pair. By a pointing pair, like we mentioned before, they can't be in any of these 2 cells. Okay, that's critical to know. Because now you have a 1, 4, 5, 8 available in column 5. Since this cannot be an 8 and this cannot be a 5, this can only be a 1 or a 4. Okay, and then we know since the 1s are a claim pair, this cannot be a 1. The 8s cannot be an 8, so it can only be a 4 or 5 right there. Create more BVCs, those bi-value cells. Now, since you have this 4 coming down, column 4, you'll notice the 4s are limited to column 5 here in block 8. That means they're a pointing pair going upward, right? And so now the 4s can't be in either of these 2 spots. So you have these 8s as a pointing pair going down, the 4s as a pointing pair going up. So 4s cannot be in either of these 2 spots. And so since it can't be a 4 and it can't be a 1, this can only be a 5 or an 8. And since this cannot be a 4 and it can't be a 5 because the claiming pair, this can only be a 1 or an 8. And now we have enough information to create the advanced strategy that's going to help us with this cell right here. Okay? Let's check out this cell. All right, you'll notice it can be a 1 or a 4, right? And it sees this cell that shares one of the candidates with it, a 4 and 8. It also sees this cell up here that we just created with the 1 or an 8. So you might notice we have a 1, 4, a 1, 8, and a 4, 8. That's all 3 paired possibilities of the 3 candidates, 1, 4, and 8. One of them, the orange cell, sees both of these 2 blue cells. And whenever you have this situation, this is called an XY wing. Because if this is a 1, you know this cell has to be an 8. If this is a 4, this cell has to be an 8. So any a cell that sees these 2 blue cells, you can eliminate an 8. This is awesome stuff. If you want to learn more about XY wings, check out this tutorial. But what it does for us is you'll notice the green cell sees both blue cells. And so we can eliminate an 8 from right there. And now you're like, Timberlake, you didn't solve the cell. You just removed the candidate, but it was a key candidate. I'm going to show you how we can use that to now solve this cell. So let's remove these colors because we just used our wonderful XY wing. And now we're going to see what happened here. So now this can't be an 8. And because of this 8, this cell cannot be an 8. The 8s are limited to 2 cells here in block 3. So these 8s are now a pointing pair. Okay, since we have a pointing pair 8 right here, and you have this 8 coming up, column 2, we can actually solve for an 8 in block 1. So that has to be an 8, which displaces this Snyder 8. We can solve that for a 5 now, and we can solve this cell for an 8. Awesome, and you'll notice we have a full house across row 2, and so there's only one candidate missing. It's got to be a 4, and this is going to be a 1, 9, which we can use to our advantage right now because this 1, 9 is a naked pair, acts as a pointing pair. So this has to be a 5, and that's going to be a 1. But we're not done yet. Now what can we do? We can look down column 5 and finish solving. We did the 5 right here. That means this has to be your 4, and that's got to be your 1. And with this 4, now we can disambiguate the 1, 4 right there. If you look up, you notice there's only one candidate remaining. That's got to be a 4. Okay, and then what are we missing here? It looks like a 3 and a 1. We'll get back to that, but what else can we do? All right, you got row 8 here. You need a 4 and an 8. I got my 4 right there, so this has got to be your 8, and that's got to be your 4. All right, and so now we got this 4 right here. We can solve the green cell because we put a 4 in column 7. This now has to be a 5. The only way to find it is to find that X, Y wing to eliminate the 8. And this is beautiful stuff because now this 4 and this 5 mean this has to be an 8. We can get rid of that Snyder mark. And the 5 means now you got a 9 here and a 5 here. And the 9 in row 1 means that's a 1 and that's a 9. Okay, what can we go from here? We're looking for more to disambiguate here. So let's look at what's remaining. We're looking for a 3 and a 4. I got my 4 there. So here's your 4 and here's your 3, which means we can disambiguate the 9 and the 3 right there. We can solve for this 1 right there because of this 4. Get rid of that mark of the 4, and we know we don't have a 9 yet in column 9. So that's a 9, which means this has to be your 5. That's going to be your 9. That's going to be your 5. And then the last digit here, and we got 2 more up at the top. We're going to have an 8 down there. And so we look up and we go 1 and a 3. Well, I got my 1 right there. I'm going to pull it over to block 1. So that's your 1 and that's your 3. See if you can expose the proven strategies in the Sudoku that inspired Julian's puzzle here. I'm excited about how the community is going to grow in 2024. I appreciate you investing in the future of smart hobbies, and I thank you so much for watching.